Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video. In this video, we are going to discuss about CA Foundation Paper 1 Principles and Practice of Accounting Chapter 1 Theoretical Framework Unit 7 Accounting as a Measurement Discipline Valuation Principles Accounting Estimates, and this is the part 2 video. For the part 1 video, check the comment section and also the description box. This video is the second part and the first video is also available in this channel. So, in the previous video, that is the part 1, we have completed the first portion, and today we will be starting with valuation principles. So, our first topic for today is valuation principles. And as usual, if you like my video, please consider giving a like to this video and also subscribe to my channel for more such interesting videos. And also, if you have any suggestion or feedback, please write it in the comment section so that I can read it and get motivated and also improve myself and can help you better in your field. So let's start, and please give this video a like. Valuation principles. As we have seen yesterday or in the part 1 video, there are 4 valuation principles in accounting. That is the historical cost, the current cost, the realizable value, and the present value. There are total 4 valuation principles that can be used to value an item or value a transaction or event for the users to understand the financial transactions through the financial statements that is prepared by the accountant. So let's start. Valuation principles. There are 4 generally accepted measurement bases or valuation principles. They are, as we have discussed just now, that they are historical cost, current cost, realizable value, and present value. There are 4. Let me adjust the screen so that you can understand better. I hope it's visible now. Let us discuss these principles in detail. The number 1 is historical cost. So, what we understand by the term historical cost? In our part 1 video and also the part 2 video, we have discussed about this topic or this portion, historical cost. The cost that is paid by the business or the enterprise to acquire an asset or to acquire an fixed asset is known as the historical cost. Historical cost is the cost of an asset that is incurred by the company or an enterprise to acquire it. एक फिक्स्ड एसेट या फिर एक एसेट को अक्वायर करने के लिए जितना भी कॉस्ट एक कंपनी या फिर एक बिजनेस एंटरप्राइज को बियर करना पड़ता है, उसे ही हम लोग हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट कहते हैं. So, historical cost, it means acquisition price. The cost that is paid by a company or firm to acquire a product or for its acquisition is that it is its acquisition price, and that is why historical cost is the acquisition price. For example, the businessman paid rupees 7 lakh to purchase the machine and spent rupees 1 lakh on its installation. Its acquisition price including installation charges is rupees 8 lakh. The historical cost of the machine would be rupees 8 lakh. So the cost or the cost of that fixed asset is rupees 7 lakh for the businessman. But to make the asset or to bring the asset or the machinery to a usable condition so that the businessman can use the machine. It needs to be installed, and it is the installation charges is a one-time expense for the machinery or for the asset, and that is why installation cost is also included under this historical cost or acquisition price, and that is why the historical cost is rupees 8 lakh. जो हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट है वो कंपनी के द्वारा या फिर एक बिजनेस के द्वारा एक बार ही फर्स्ट टाइम ही इनकर किया जाता है. जो भी परचेजिंग प्राइस है उस मशीन का दैट इज रुपीज 7 लाख वो तो है ही, लेकिन उस मशीन को वर्केबल या फिर यूजेबल कंडीशन में लाने के लिए या फिर उसको यूज करने के लिए मशीन को इंस्टॉल करना भी जरूरी हो जाता है. इसीलिए ये जो इंस्टॉलेशन कॉस्ट है हम सबको पता है ये एक वन टाइम एक्सपेंस है. इंस्टॉलेशन एक बार ही करना पड़ता है पूरा लाइफ टाइम में. इसीलिए इंस्टॉलेशन कॉस्ट एंड द प्राइस ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट इन दोनों को मिला के बनता है हिस्टोरिकल प्राइस और हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट. हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट को हम लोग क्या कहेंगे? एक्विजिशन प्राइस भी कह सकते हैं. सो हिस्टोरिकल प्राइस को ये भी कह सकते हैं इट इज द one time cost, it is a single time cost or one time cost to the company. यहां पे मैं लिख भी देता हूं one time cost. one time cost to the business. ये है historical cost. According to this base, assets are recorded at an amount of cash or cash equivalent paid at the time of acquisition. एक एसेट का एक्विजिशन के टाइम पे जितना भी कैश या फिर पेमेंट किया जाता है, कैश पेमेंट या फिर कुछ भी और तरीके से पेमेंट किया जाता है, उसे ही हम लोग एक्विजिशन कॉस्ट या फिर हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट कहते हैं. Liabilities are recorded the amount of proceeds received in exchange for the obligation. एक obligation के लिए जितना भी proceeds या फिर returns मिलेगा उसे हम लोग liabilities का historical cost कहते हैं. The benefit or the proceeds that is receivable or that has been received due to an obligation is the historical cost for that liability or that obligation. In some circumstances, a liability is recorded at the amount of cash or cash equivalent expected to be paid to satisfy it in the normal course of business. In some circumstances, a liability is recorded in that amount of cash or cash equivalent that is expected to be paid or that has to be paid, that is expected to have to be paid to satisfy the claim or satisfy the liability in the normal course of the business. उसे भी हम लोग historical cost of that liability कह सकते हैं. जितना भी हम लोग एक्सपेक्टेशन रखते हैं कि एक लाइबिलिटी को चुकाने के लिए या फिर एक ऑब्लिगेशन को राइट ऑफ करने के लिए जितना भी कैश या फिर कैश इक्विवेलेंट का खर्चा करना पड़ेगा उसे हम लोग उस लाइबिलिटी का या फिर उस ऑब्लिगेशन का हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट कहते हैं. When a businessman takes rupees 5 lakh loan from a bank at the rate 10% interest per annum, it is to be recorded at the amount of proceeds received in exchange for the obligation. उस obligation जो है, जो लोन है या फिर जो लाइबिलिटी है, जो रुपीज 5 लाख लोन प्लस 10% पर एनम इंटरेस्ट, उसके अकॉर्डिंग या फिर उसके एक्सचेंज में जितना रिटर्न्स हम लोगों को मिलेगा या फिर बिजनेस को मिलेगा या फिर मिला है उसे हम लोग हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट कहते हैं. तो क्या कितना अमाउंट मिलेगा या फिर मिले हैं बेनिफिट 5 लाख रुपीस, क्योंकि लोन 5 लाख का है इसीलिए वो जो लाइबिलिटी है, लाइबिलिटी क्या है? रुपीज 5 लाख प्लस 10% इंटरेस्ट पर एनम. इस लाइबिलिटी के लिए जो बेनिफिट है रुपीज 5 लाख है. Here, the obligation is the repayment of loan as well as the payment of interest at an agreed rate, that is 10%. लोन क्या है? लोन अमाउंट है जो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट है प्लस इंटरेस्ट अमाउंट, इसके मिला के हम लोग का एक या फिर एक बिजनेस का लायबिलिटी बनता है. यहाँ पे मुद्दा क्या है या फिर समरी क्या है? व्हाट इज द समरी? द समरी इज the liability equals to, I want to write it again, the liability is equals to interest, sorry, the liability is the interest I think there's some technical difficulty. I have to write it over here. I'm writing this over here. The liability equals to interest plus principal. This is the liability. The interest amount plus the principal amount makes up the total liability. But in the return of that liability or in exchange of that liability, what is the return or what is the benefit received by the business? It is only the principal amount. This principal amount received is the benefit received, and that is why this principal amount is the historical cost, or historical cost of that liability is this principal. But what is the liability? Liability is this interest plus this principal. This too becomes the liability. So let us repeat again. When a businessman takes rupees 5 lakh loan for a bank from a bank at 10% interest per annum, it is recorded at an amount of proceeds received in exchange of the obligation. What is the proceeds received? It is rupees 5 lakh. Here the obligation is the repayment of loan as well as the payment of interest at an agreed rate, that is 10%. Proceeds received is rupees 5 lakh. It is the historical cost of that transaction. Take another case regarding payment of income tax liability. You know, every individual has to pay income tax. We all know our parents and our teachers pay income tax or teach us about income tax. We have heard somewhere or the other about income tax. So, an individual needs to pay income tax on his income if it exceeds certain minimum limit or certain exemption limit. If an income of an individual exceeds a certain given exemption limit, then that individual has to pay some taxes on that income. Similarly, but the income tax liability is not settled immediately when one earns his income. The income tax authority settles its some time later, which is technically called assessment year. Then, how does he record this liability? As per historical cost base, it is to be recorded at an amount expected to be paid to discharge the liability. इनकम टैक्स लाइबिलिटी को डिस्चार्ज करने के लिए जितना भी एक्सपेक्टेड अमाउंट पेएबल है उसे हम लोग हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट ऑफ इनकम टैक्स लाइबिलिटी कह सकते हैं. The amount that is expected to be paid to write off the income tax liability is the historical cost of that income tax liability. I hope it is clear. So, what we have learned, historical cost is the acquisition price. It is the one-time cost for the company. Sorry, it is the one-time cost for the company. And for a liability, the amount for in case of liabilities, the amount of proceeds received in exchange of that obligation is the historical cost. Now, our next topic is current cost. What is the current cost? Take that Mr. X purchased a machine on 1st January 2011 at rupees 7 lakh. As per historical cost base, he has to record rupees 7 lakh. We understand that, right? Rupees 7 lakh is the one-time payment for that asset done by Mr. X. That is its acquisition price. As on 1st January 2020, Mr. X found that it would cost rupees 25 lakh to purchase that same machinery. The machinery which was purchased in 2011 for rupees 7 lakh. If in 2020 we purchase the same machinery or similar machinery, it would cost me rupees 25 lakh or it would cost Mr. X rupees 25 lakh. Take also that Mr. X took loan from a bank as on 1st January 2011 rupees 5 lakh at 18% per annum, repayable at the end of 15th year together with interest. As on 1st January 2020, the bank announces 1% prepayment penalty on the loan amount if it is paid within 15 days starting from that date or from that day. As per historical cost, liability is recorded at rupees 5 lakh. Why? The historical cost of the liability is the face value or the proceeds that is received against that liability. That is why historical cost of that liability of loan is rupees 5 lakh. At the amount of proceeds received in exchange for obligation, an asset is recorded at rupees 7 lakh. So our asset cost me 7 lakh and the loan which I have taken is 5 lakh. Historical cost base is clear. Historical cost of the asset or the machine is 7 lakh and historical cost of my loan or the bank loan is rupees 5 lakh. Current cost gives an alternative measurement base. Assets are carried out at the amount of cash or cash equivalent that would have to be paid if the same or an equivalent asset was acquired currently or today itself. So, what is current cost? Current cost is that amount of cash or cash equivalent that we need to pay or the business needs to pay to acquire the equivalent asset today or in this current period. So, current cost can be defined as it is an alternative measurement base. Assets are carried out at the amount of cash or cash equivalent that would have to be paid if the same or equivalent asset was acquired currently or today itself. Currently means today itself or in this accounting period itself. Liabilities are carried at the undiscounted amount of cash or cash equivalents that would be required to settle the obligation currently. एक लाइबिलिटी को आज ही सेटल करने के लिए जितना भी कैश या फिर कैश इक्विवेलेंट देना पड़ेगा उसे हम लोग करंट कॉस्ट ऑफ दैट लाइबिलिटी कहते हैं. The amount of cash or cash equivalents that needs to be paid today itself to set off or settle an obligation or liability is the current cost of that liability. that amount should be undiscounted amount. So for a liability, let's mark this up with red color. For a liability carried at an undiscounted amount of cash or cash equivalents that would be required to settle the obligation currently. This is the current cost of a liability, asset and liability. I hope you understood. Now let's take an example. So as per the current cost basis, the machine value is rupees 5 lakh, while the value of bank loan is rupees 5 lakh 5,000 only. Why? Because of the interest amount. The interest also needs to be paid. Wrong. Why the bank loan is valued at rupees 5 lakh 5,000? Because the bank today or in this period of 1st January 2020 has announced the rupees 5 lakh loan can be set off with a 1% prepayment penalty. So, what is the current cost? Current cost of the liability is the amount of cash or cash equivalent that needs to be paid today itself to set off or settle the liability today itself. So, if we need to settle that liability of bank loan, we need to pay rupees 5 lakh, and also we need to pay rupees 5,000 as a 1% prepayment penalty. And in that case, that is this, the amount or the current cost of the machine is 2 lakh 25 lakh, and the current cost or current value of the bank loan is rupees 5 lakh 50,000. I hope you are able to understand. Current cost is the cost or the amount that can be recovered or that needs to be paid today itself for an asset or liability to be recovered today. For an asset, the current liability or current cost is the cost that can be recovered from, or that it can't be said recovered. For an asset, current cost is the amount of cash or cash equivalent that needs to be paid today to purchase that similar or equivalent asset in today's date or in this current period. And for a liability, current cost is the amount of cash or cash equivalents that needs to be paid today itself to set off or settle the liability or obligation. एक एसेट के लिए करंट कॉस्ट जो है, करंट कॉस्ट है वो अमाउंट या फिर वो अमाउंट ऑफ कैश और कैश इक्विवेलेंट जितना भी आज मुझको या फिर बिजनेस को पे करना पड़ेगा सिमिलर एसेट या फिर उस इक्विवेलेंट एसेट को खरीदने के लिए या फिर एक्वायर करने के लिए. लेकिन लायबिलिटी के लिए करंट कॉस्ट क्या है? एक लायबिलिटी के लिए करंट कॉस्ट है जितना भी अमाउंट आज के दिन में पे करना पड़ेगा कैश या फिर कैश इक्विवेलेंट में, उस सेम लायबिलिटी को चुकाने के लिए, सेट ऑफ करने के लिए, वो ही है करंट कॉस्ट ऑफ दैट लायबिलिटी. नाउ आवर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, आवर थर्ड टॉपिक इज रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू. रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू क्या है? What is realizable value? Let us understand with the help of an example. Suppose Mr. X found that he can get rupees 20 lakh if he would sell the machinery purchased. In our previous example, Mr. X valued his machinery at rupees 25 lakh, which he purchased for rupees 7 lakh in 1st January 2011. We are continuing that example. Suppose Mr. X found that today if he sells that machine, he can get or recover rupees 20 lakh by selling that asset or selling that machine on 1st January 2011, paying rupees 7 lakh, and which would cost rupees 25 lakh in case if he would buy today or buy it currently. We understood this. He purchased that asset for rupees 7 lakh. But if he purchases that product or that asset today, he would be charged rupees 25 lakh. But if he sells that same asset, he can recover rupees 20 lakh. So in that case, take also that Mr. X found that he had no money to pay off the bank loan of rupees 5 lakh currently. मिस्टर एक्स के पास कुछ भी रुपए नहीं है, कुछ भी अमाउंट नहीं है जो कि वो पे कर सके बैंक लोन को चुकाने के लिए. As per realizable value, assets are carried out or carried at the amount of cash or cash equivalents that could currently be obtained or realized by selling the asset in an orderly disposal. रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू क्या है? एक एसेट के लिए रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू वो अमाउंट ऑफ कैश या फिर कैश इक्विवेलेंट है जो कि उस एसेट को सेल करके या फिर उस एसेट को बेच के हम लोग रियलाइज या फिर एक बिजनेस रियलाइज कर सकता है. व्हाट इज द रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू ऑफ एन एसेट? द रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू ऑफ एन एसेट is the amount of cash or cash equivalent that can be recovered or realized by the business or the business firm or an enterprise today itself by selling that asset or realizing that asset. So, as per realizable value, assets are carried out or carried at the amount of cash or cash equivalents that could currently be obtained by selling the asset in orderly disposal. ये orderly disposal क्या है? Orderly disposal है एक लाइन में या फिर एक क्रोनोलॉजी में या फिर डे टू डे बेसिस पे जो भी परचेज हुआ है वो ही सेल होगा. परचेज होने के बाद ही सेल हो सकता है ना, इसी को जब परचेज होगा तब सेल होगा. एक ऑर्डर बेसिस पे उसको ऑर्डरली डिस्पोजल कहते हैं. What is haphazard disposal? Haphazard disposal may yield something less. Haphazard disposal क्या है? Haphazard disposal मतलब हम लोग एक ऑर्डर में नहीं बेच रहे हैं. We are not following an order to sell off or to realize that asset. That is why we need to follow orderly disposal. Liabilities are carried at their settlement values. So, what is the realization value of a liability? The realization value of a liability is the settlement value or the amount that needs to be paid today itself to settle the amount, that is the undiscounted amount of cash or cash equivalents expressed to be paid to satisfy the liabilities in the normal course of business. रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू ऑफ अ लाइबिलिटी वो वैल्यू है जिसको एक बिजनेस को जिस अमाउंट को एक बिजनेस को पे करना पड़ेगा उस लाइबिलिटी को नॉर्मल वे में या फिर नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस में चुकाने के लिए. रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू ऑफ एन लाइबिलिटी इज दैट अमाउंट दैट नीड्स टू बी पेड बाय द बिजनेस to set off or settle that liability or obligation in its normal course of business. The realizable value of the liability is the undiscounted amount of cash or cash equivalents expressed to be paid to satisfy the liabilities in the normal course of business. So, back to our example. So, the machine should be recorded at rupees 20 lakh, their realizable value in an orderly sale, while bank loan should be recorded at rupees 5 lakh, the settlement value in normal course of business. Why? Because the businessman has no value or no amount left to set off the liability today itself. That is why the value is rupees 5 lakh and the asset value is rupees 20 lakh. Our next topic is present value. What is present value? So let us consider an example. Suppose we are talking as on 1st January 2020. Take it as time for reference. एक रेफरेंस के लिए 1st January 2020 को मान लेते हैं. Now think, the machine purchased by Mr. X can work for another 10 years and is supposed to generate at the rate rupees 1 lakh per annum. एक डेट मान लेते हैं 1st January 2020. ये एग्जाम्पल जो है हम लोग एक ड्राइंग के हेल्प से समझते हैं. मान लीजिए ये है 1st January 2020. ये मशीन जो है अब इस साल में परचेज हुआ है. मैं थोड़ा डिटेल में ड्रॉ करता हूं. सपोज ये है 1/1/20. इस डेट पे उस मशीन को खरीदा गया है. ये एजम्पशन है या फिर ये एस्टिमेशन है कि ये मशीनरी 10 इयर्स पीरियड के लिए कंटिन्यूअस चलेगा. कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा. 10 इयर्स तक ये चलता ही जाएगा. ये मशीन, इस मशीन का यूजफुल लाइफ है 10 इयर्स. और हर साल इस मशीन 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. I hope this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Yes, 10 years. These gaps, this is a year, this is a year, this is a year. Take it as an example. As per the example, this machinery will run or will have a useful life of 10 years. That is up to 30. It would run up to 31st December 2030. I think that is the date. Yes. And it is said that in every year per annum it would generate rupees 1 lakh. In this year it would generate 1 lakh. So let us reduce it. Every year it would generate 1 lakh cash. 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh. It would generate 1 lakh cash. Similarly, 1 lakh in every year. Up to 10 years, it is going to generate 1 lakh cash or 1 lakh revenue. 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh. So back to our example. Sorry, I hope. Sorry for the disturbance. There was a something error went on, something occurred. So back to our example. As per the study material, as per the example, we are taking a date of reference that is 1st January 2020. A machinery is purchased on 1st January 2020 and it is expected to have a useful life of 10 years. So for 10 years per annum it is going to generate rupees 1 lakh cash or 1 lakh revenue. Also take the bank loan of rupees 5 lakh taken by Mr. X is to be repaid on 31st December 2026. Annual interest is rupees 90,000. Every year it has to pay rupees 90,000 tax and 90,000 interest. As per the present value, an asset is carried at the present discounted value of the future net cash inflows that the item is expected to generate in the normal course of business. Present value क्या है? Present value एक डिस्काउंटेड या फिर एक कैलकुलेटेड वैल्यू है. किसका? जो नेट कैश इनफ्लो जनरेट होने जा रहा है एक मशीनरी या फिर एक एसेट के ऊपर इन्वेस्ट करके, उसका जो कैलकुलेटेड अमाउंट आज के डेट में है उसको हम लोग कहेंगे प्रेजेंट वैल्यू। आप लोग मैथ्स में शायद करे होंगे टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी। टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी में एक कंसेप्ट है प्रेजेंट वैल्यू और फ्यूचर वैल्यू। वहां पे हम लोग प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करते हैं, है ना। उस प्रेजेंट वैल्यू के कैलकुलेशन में while calculating the present value, we calculate the net cash inflows, the value of net cash inflows for an asset when on the date of purchase or on a fixed date. Standing today, what is the standing today? So this is today where I am standing. What is my net cash inflow that I am going to generate throughout the life of the asset or throughout the life of the machinery? That is the present value. So as per present value, the asset is carried at the present discounted value of the net cash inflows of the future net cash inflows that the item is expected to be generated in the normal course of business. बिजनेस का नॉर्मल कोर्स में एक एसेट से कितना नेट कैश इनफ्लो होने जा रहा है उसका एक डिस्काउंटेड कैलकुलेटेड अमाउंट को हम लोग कहेंगे प्रेजेंट वैल्यू। यहां पे डिस्काउंटेड, अगर हम लोग फ्यूचर वैल्यू को एक फॉर्मूला को यूज करते हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई होप दिस इज डन और कवर्ड इन योर future value of money chapter. And also in the future, in this channel's future, I am going to make videos on that chapter too, future value of money, because I was interested. So the future value of an asset is the present value. I hope you know this formula. So let us take another, or let us go to the end of this chapter to explain the concept of present value. This thing is also explained in this chapter itself, but to explain you a bit proper, I am performing this over here. So as per present value, what is present value of an asset? It is the discounted net cash inflows from an asset throughout the useful life of the asset. So यहाँ पे जो future value का formula है, future value of an asset is equals to present value multiplied by 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I. This is the future value. I hope I'm going right. Yes. What is the present value of the asset? We need to calculate the present value. This needs to be calculated. Present value. So sorry, this would not be the present value, but what is the future value or what is the present value of an asset? तो यहाँ पर मैं आपके अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए मेरा कैलकुलेटर भी ला चुका हूँ स्क्रीन में, यहाँ पे फॉलो करता जाइएगा। हम लोग प्रेजेंट वैल्यू में थे। सो हम लोग का ईयरली इंटरेस्ट या फिर ईयरली इनकम था, ईयरली जो इनकम था वो है 1 लाख रुपीज पर एनम। जो मशीनरी का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू है उसे निकालना होगा आज के डेट में, और हम लोग मान लेते हैं कि या फिर दिया था भी जो बैंक इंटरेस्ट है, जो बैंक से इंटरेस्ट आया था या फिर बैंक को इंटरेस्ट रेट देना पड़ा था, वो था 10% पर एनम में 6 इयर्स के लिए, 2020 से 2026 तक 6 इयर्स के लिए हम लोग को इंटरेस्ट देना था। तब हम लोग फ्यूचर वैल्यू का एक फॉर्मूला है हम लोगों का, प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इक्वल्स टू द इनकम और कैश इनफ्लो into multiplied by 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I to the power n। ये है फॉर्मूला प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करने के लिए। जो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू है इस फॉर्मूला से निकलता है। हम सबको पता है, शायद अगर आपने नहीं किया है आप उस चैप्टर से रेफरेंस ले लीजिएगा इस कैलकुलेशन का, मगर ये जो एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं। हम लोग को मशीनरी का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करना है। तो हम लोगों का इनकम कितना है, ईयरली इनकम है 1 लाख रुपीज या फिर 1 लाख रुपीज पर एनम। 1 प्लस आई, हम लोग का इंटरेस्ट क्या है, इंटरेस्ट है 10%, उसके मतलब 0.1 टू द पावर n। n क्या है, नंबर ऑफ इयर्स, नंबर ऑफ इयर्स क्या है 6 इयर्स के लिए हमारा कैलकुलेशन है -1 डिवाइडेड बाय 0.1। i क्या है, इंटरेस्ट रेट, इसीलिए 0.1 इंटू 1 प्लस 0.1 टू द पावर 6, ये वैल्यू आ जाएगा। तब हम लोग कैलकुलेट करते हैं इस जो मशीनरी का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू क्या होने जा रहा है। ये आएगा रुपीज में, हम सबको पता है क्योंकि ये रुपीज 1 लाख का कैलकुलेशन है। अब हम लोग करते हैं 1.01। एक साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर, ये जो डेस्कटॉप का कैलकुलेटर है इसीलिए साइंटिफिक, आप आपके कैलकुलेटर में भी कर सकते हैं। 1.01 इंटू इक्वल्स टू दबाना है 5 टाइम्स। सो 1.01 टू द पावर 6 माइनस 1, ये आ जाएगा न्यूमरेटर का वैल्यू। ये है न्यूमरेटर का वैल्यू, यहाँ पे आ जाएगा। यहाँ पे मैं इसको भी कॉपी कर लेता हूं और यहाँ पे मैं लिख भी देता हूं आपके अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए। यहाँ पे आंसर आएगा, लेकिन यहाँ पे वर्किंग नोट्स 1 लाख इंटू, हम लोग एक छोटा सा अमाउंट मान लेते हैं 0.06150, इसे मान लेते हैं। अब कैलकुलेट करते हैं जो डिनोमिनेटर है। डिनोमिनेटर कैसे कैलकुलेट होगा, यहाँ पे देखिए 1.01 टू द पावर 6 इंटू 0.1। सो 10% है, इसीलिए हम लोगों का कैलकुलेशन ऐसे आ रहा है। एक बार मेमोरी में चेक कर भी लेते हैं। यहां पर देखिए मेमोरी में हम लोग किए थे देखिए 1. पहले हम लोग किए थे 1.01, यहाँ पे गलती हो चुका है हमारा। 10% का मतलब क्या है, करते हैं हम लोग 10 पूरा क्लियर कर देते हैं। आपको अगर कुछ कंफ्यूजन है यहाँ से समझिए, हमारा ये जो है ये है फॉर्मूला, इस फॉर्मूला के अकॉर्डिंग करना पड़ेगा। सो 10% का मतलब क्या है, 10% का मतलब 10 डिवाइडेड बाई 100 का मतलब क्या है, 0.1 मतलब 1.1 होगा। यहां पे कैलकुलेशन जो है वो होगा 1.1 to the power 6 minus 1, 1.1 to the power 6 minus 1 वो हो जाएगा 0.7। यहाँ पे मैं लिख देता हूं, यहाँ ये तो रॉन्ग, यहाँ पे मैं लिख भी देता हूं 0.771561 डिवाइडेड बाई, अब हम लोगों को डिनोमिनेटर जो है, डिनोमिनेटर को कैलकुलेट करना है। 1.1 to the power 6 into 0.1, ये आ गया डिनोमिनेटर। क्या आया? 0.1771561। तो क्या आपको डिफरेंस समझ में आ रहा है? जो डिनोमिनेटर है वो है 0.1771561 और जो न्यूमरेटर में था वो था 0.771561। यहां पे हम लोग कैलकुलेट करते हैं। अब यहां से हमारा जो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू है उसका कैलकुलेशन शुरू होता है। वो हो गया 1 लाख इंटू 0.771561 डिवाइडेड बाई, या फिर यहां पे और एक बार करते हैं हम लोग 1 लाख इंटू 0.771561 ये आ गया, ये डिवाइडेड बाई 0.1771561, ये जो है ये आएगा हमारा प्रेजेंट वैल्यू। आज के दिन में वो जो एसेट है उसका वैल्यू इस पे आएगा। 6 इयर्स के लिए, 6 इयर्स के कैलकुलेशन में 6 इयर्स के बाद जो मशीनरी का वैल्यू है, उस मशीनरी का वैल्यू आज है ये, दैट इज 4,35,526। 4,35,526। अगर 6 साल तक, यहां पे मैं कैलकुलेटर को क्लोज कर देता हूं, मेरा सिस्टम हैंडल नहीं कर पा रहा है एक्चुअली, इसीलिए थोड़ा हैंग हो रहा था। अब शायद पूरा ही हैंग हो गया है। 3 हेलो, 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 हेलो। हाँ, मेरा जो सिस्टम है हैंग कर गया था, शायद अब सुनाई दे रहा होगा। हमारा कैलकुलेशन के अकॉर्डिंग अगर 6 साल तक एक मशीनरी ₹1 लाख दे जाएगा और हम लोगों को 10% के इंटरेस्ट रेट देना पड़ेगा, उसका जो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू है उसको 4,35,526 आएगा। ये है एक लेमन टर्म से कैलकुलेशन फॉर्मूला यूज करके। अब हम लोग इस डेफिनेशन को समझते हैं, ये क्या कहना चाह रहा है। अगर ये पोर्शन में आपका थोड़ा समझने का कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम है ना, आप पहले पेपर 3 में जाइए, द चैप्टर नेम्ड फ्यूचर वैल्यू और फ्यूचर वैल्यू ऑफ मनी, दैट इज टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी चैप्टर में आएगा फ्यूचर वैल्यू और प्रेजेंट वैल्यू। उस चैप्टर को कंप्लीट कर लीजिए, यहाँ पे आप लोगों को समझ में आ जाएगा। So, as per the definition, present value of an asset is carried at the present discounted value. It is the present of an asset is the present discounted value of the future net cash inflows that the item is expected to generate. In the normal course of business, एक normal course of business में एक asset जितना भी amount या फिर जितना भी cash inflow करेगा उसका net amount या फिर discounted या फिर calculated amount आज के दिन में जो है उसको हम लोग present value of that asset कहेंगे. Liabilities are carried at the present discounted value of future net cash outflows that are expected to be required to settle the liabilities in the normal course of business. एक liability के लिए net present value या फिर present value क्या है? एक liability को एक term के बाद या फिर अपने normal course of business में कुछ time के बाद settle करने के लिए कितना amount net cash outflow होगा. What will be the net cash outflow, the discounted amount of net cash outflow of an liability throughout the life of that liability is known as the present value for that liability. Present value of the liability is carried out at the present discounted value of future net cash outflows that are expected to be required to settle liabilities in the normal course of business. The term discount, cash inflow and cash outflow need a little elaboration. हम लोगों को थोड़ा explanation चाहिए. थोड़ा सा हम लोगों को confusion हो गया है ना, थोड़ा confuse हो चुके हैं हम लोग, इसीलिए discount, cash inflow, cash outflow ये जो term है इसको elaborate करते हैं एक एग्जाम्पल को यूज करके. So, ₹100 in hand as on 1st January 2020 is not equivalent to ₹100 in hand as on 31st December 2020. 31st December 2020 में एक 100 रुपीज नोट का जो वैल्यू है उस नोट का वैल्यू 1st जनवरी 2020 में जितना था उतना नहीं रहेगा, घट जाएगा. क्यों? हम लोगों का रील्स के दुनिया में हम लोगों को पता है कि हम लोगों का इंटरेस्ट, हम लोगों का इंडिया में 6% का इन्फ्लेशन होता है, इसीलिए 100 रुपीज का वैल्यू हर साल 6% से घट जाता है. इसीलिए एक 100 रुपीज का नोट 1st जनवरी 2020 में जितना वैल्यू करेगा या फिर जितना परचेजिंग पावर रहेगा उसका 31st दिसंबर 2020 में उस ₹100 का नोट का परचेजिंग पावर घट जाएगा. There is a time gap of 1 year. If Mr. X had ₹100 as on 1st January 2020, he could use it at that time. If he received it only on 31st December 2020, he had to sacrifice his use for a year. अगर मिस्टर X को 1st जनवरी 2020 में ₹100 मिल जाएगा तब वो इंस्टेंटली यूज कर पाएंगे, एक साल के लिए यूज कर पाएंगे. लेकिन अगर मिस्टर X को उस ₹100 को मिलने का डेट है 31st दिसंबर 2020, एक साल का नुकसान है ना. एक साल के लिए उस ₹100 को मिस्टर X यूज नहीं कर पाएंगे, इसीलिए उसे एक लॉस के तरह दिखा जाएगा, उसे एक सैक्रिफाइस बोला जाएगा. The value of that sacrifice is called the time value of money. जितना भी वैल्यू उस ₹100 से सैक्रिफाइस हो चुका है उसे कहते हैं टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी. मनी का एक टाइम वैल्यू होता है, जो वैल्यू एक मनी का वैल्यू टाइम के बेसिस पे वैरी होता है या फिर चेंज होता है, उसे ही हम लोग टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी कहते हैं. मिस्टर X would sacrifice, that is, he would agree to take money on 31st December 2020 with ₹100 to be received on 31st December 2020. So, a rational man will never exchange ₹100 as on 1st January 2020 with rupees 100 receivable on 31st December 2020. क्यों? एक one rational man will never want to exchange a rupees 100 to be received on 1st January 2020 with a rupees 100 to be received on 31st December 2020. Why? Because there is a loss of 1 year. There is a loss for 1 year, one accounting period. एक साल के लिए जितना भी उस 100 रुपीज को यूज ना करने के वजह से लॉस हो रहा है उसको बियर कौन करेगा? इसीलिए उस लॉस के वजह से 1 ईयर लॉस के वजह से कोई भी बिजनेसमैन रुपीज 100 ऑन 1st जनवरी 2020 से रुपीज 100 31st दिसंबर 2020 में रिसीव होने वाले को एक्सचेंज नहीं करेगा. Mr. X would sacrifice, that is, he would agree to take money on 31st December 2020 if he had been compensated for that sacrifice. बिजनेसमैन फ्री में तो काम नहीं करता है, उसको कुछ कंपेंसेशन देना पड़ता है. एक साल के लॉस के लिए उस बिजनेसमैन को अगर कुछ इनकम या फिर कंपेंसेशन मिल जाए तब भी उस एक्सचेंज ऑफर को वो कंसीडर करेगा. Mr. X would sacrifice for a compensation. So, a rational man, it is over. Then rupees 100 on 1st January 2020 is not equivalent to rupees 100 on 31st December 2020. To make the money receivable at future date equal with the money of the present value, it is to be devalued. मनी का वैल्यू 6% से घटता है इंडिया में इन्फ्लेशन के वजह से. सेम तरीके से एक बिजनेस के लिए जितना भी टर्नओवर का रेट है या फिर टर्न अराउंड का रेट है उतने रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट से या फिर उतने परसेंटेज से मनी का वैल्यू उस बिजनेस के लिए एक ईयर में डेप्रीशिएट या फिर डिक्रीज करता है. सच डिवैल्यूएशन इज कॉल्ड द डिस्काउंटिंग ऑफ फ्यूचर वैल्यू. यहाँ पे हम लोग उस एग्जाम्पल या फिर उस जो हम लोग फॉर्मूला दिख चुके हैं वहां पे इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन है. Perhaps you know the compound interest rule. Amount equals to principal into 1 plus I, that is 1 plus interest to the, this would not be n but it would be it would be in the power. It should be in the power. So A is the amount, P is the principal, I is the interest, that is interest divided by 100. It is in the decimal format. I is in the decimal format. And N is the time. N is the time in number of years in that formula. This equation gives the relationship between present money, principal and the future money amount. If A, I and N are given, to find out P, the equation would be this. Very easy. Let's explain. The formula is given amount equals to principal into 1 plus I to the power n. So we need to find P, the principal value or the present value. P equals to A divided by 1 plus I to the power n. Very simple. This portion is moved to here. So we have derived the formula. Using this equation, we can now find out. Suppose interest equals to 20%. In our example, we had taken interest equals to 10%. Now, what is the present value of rupees 1 lakh to be received on 31st December 2020? That is 1 year. We had taken for 6 years. Now, we are taking for 1 year. 1 lakh, 1 plus 20 to the power 1. 1 plus 20 to the power 1 equals to this 83,333. This is the present value of rupees 1 lakh that is to be receivable. 1 plus 20, this would be 1 plus 0.2 to the power 1. If you would write this, it would be better because you could understand it better. 1 plus 0.2 or 1.2 to the power 1 equals to 83,333. So now let's introduce our calculator. To calculate, we need to prove, right? Yes, we need to prove ourselves. So let's introduce our calculator at this point of time. So our calculator is on our way. Yes, it is on our screen. So 1.2 to the power 1 is 1.2. So we are writing 1 lakh divided by 1.2 equals to 83,333. So our formula is proven. Congratulations. Yes, I hope you are able to understand. Bye bye calculator. Let's see you now. Similarly, we are seeing a 20% interest rate, and our calculation from here begins, or the calculation which we have completed earlier is repeated with a 20% rate. Every year there is a 1 lakh rupees income, 1 lakh rupees introduction or receipt. The present value is calculated. These are all the present value that is calculated year after year for 10 years. Why? It was purchased on 1st January 2020 and the useful life is 10 years. So let us calculate this using our formula. The present value or PV equals to is equals to the value into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I to the power n. This is our overall formula, which is equals to the value is 1 lakh. So our regular or per annum income is 1 lakh. So 1 lakh into 1 plus 0.2. Why 0.2? 20%. 20 divided by 100 equals to 0.2. That is why 0.2. Minus 1 divided by I means 0.2 into 1 plus 0. Let's write this a bit over here because I am unable to. I hope you are able to understand the present value, that is 1 lakh into 1 plus I, that is 0.2 to the power n, that is 10 years, to the power 10 minus 1 divided by 0.2 to the power 0.2 into 1 plus 0.2. Again that same problem is happening, sorry for it. 0.2 to the power 10. I hope it's visible now. Yes. So our calculation begins over here. Now let's welcome our calculator at this point of time. Now let's calculate, is there 10 years? 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. 26, 27, 28, 29. There are 9 years. The machine is running for 9 years. Why? Why there is 9 years? Because 1 lakh rupees today is 1 lakh rupees, right? Yes. 1 लाख रुपए आज के दिन में 1 लाख रुपए ही रहेगा ना. हम लोग प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए 10 नहीं होगा, यहाँ पे 9 होगा. ये एक टेस्ट था या फिर एक करेक्शन था. क्यों 9 होगा? क्योंकि 1 लाख रुपए आज के दिन में 1 लाख रुपए ही रहता है. 1 lakh rupees in today's date, rupees 1 lakh in today's date is equivalent to rupees 1 lakh. That is why it would be not 9, not 10, but it would be 9. So let's calculate 1.2 to the power 9 minus 1. So this is the value. Let's write it over here. 1 lakh into 4.159780352 divided by, now our denominator, now we are calculating our denominator, 1.2 to the power 9 into 0.2 equals to 1.03. This would be our denominator. 1.0319560704. This is our calculation. So now let us calculate. This is for 9 years. Why? Because 1 lakh rupees value today itself is valued at rupees 1 lakh. That is the case. So now let's calculate 1 lakh into 4.159780352 divided by 1.0319560. So yes, 560704 704. What a value is this? Sorry for the let's calculate again. Actually my PC cannot handle this much of stress at this time. 1 lakh into 4.159780352 divided by 1.03195600704. So equals to, this is our present value for 9 years. So total of this present value is rupees 4 lakh. Total of this present value is rupees 4 lakh 19. Hello. So, hello, I'm back. There was some glitch again. Rupees 4, the total of the present value is rupees 4,19,246. Since the machine was purchased by Mr. X, will produce cash equivalent to rupees 4,19,246 in terms of present value, it is to be valued at such amount as per present value measurement basis. Here, Mr. X will receive 1 lakh at different point of time. These are cash inflows. The accounting system, which we shall discuss in the remaining chapters, is also called historical cost accounting. However, this need not mean that one shall follow only historical cost basis of accounting. In the later chapters of the CA course, we shall see that the accounting system uses all types of measurement basis, although under the traditional system, the transactions and events are measured in historical cost basis only. So I hope you are able to understand what is present value. Present value is the value the discounted value of the net cash inflow or net cash outflow for an asset or liability. What is present value? Present value is the discounted amount of net cash inflow or outflow for an asset or liability during or for the total useful life of that asset or liability. So let me write, for your convenience, let me write over here what is present value. What is present value? Present value is the discounted amount of net cash inflow or outflow for an asset or liability for its useful life. So I hope you are able to understand what is present value. So for your information, this present value is discussed in your paper 3, that is paper 3 mathematics, future at the time value of money chapter. Our next is measurement and valuation. So what is measurement and valuation? Measurement and valuation is an important aspect of accounting. So we are going to learn about that. Value relates to the benefits to be derived from objects, abilities, or ideas. What is value? What is a value? Value is the benefit that can be derived from an object, ability, or idea. To the economist, value is the utility, that is the satisfaction of an economic resource to the person compensating or enjoying its use. एक एक चीज का, एक आइटम का, एक एबिलिटी का, एक ऑब्जेक्ट का या फिर एक आइडिया का जितना भी बेनिफिट डिराइव किया जा सकता है या फिर उसको यूज करके जितना भी और यूटिलिटी सेटिस्फैक्शन या फिर यूटिलिटी हम लोग डिराइव कर सकते हैं, उसे ही हम लोग वैल्यू कहते हैं. So what is, as per economics or economists, the utility or satisfaction of an economic resource that a person compensating or enjoying it can get. In accounting, to mean value of an object, abilities, or ideas, a monetary surrogate is used. That is to say, value is measured in terms of money. Value terms of money में measure किया जाता है. Suppose an individual purchased a car paying rupees 2,50,000 rupees. Its value lies in the satisfaction to be derived by that individual using the car in future. Economists often use ordinal scale to indicate the level of satisfaction, but accountants use only cardinal scales. What is ordinal and cardinal scale, or ordinal or cardinal numbers, you are going to explain me in the comment section. Why? Because this topic is explained in detail in the part 1 video of this chapter itself. So click on the I button and check out the video and explain me what is ordinal approach and cardinal approach. If the value of car is taken as rupees 2,50,000 rupees, it is only one type of value called the acquisition cost or the historical cost. So, value is indicated by measurement. Value is always indicated by measurement. In accounting, the value is always measured in terms of money. Value is always measured in terms of money. Our next topic, accounting estimate. Earlier in this unit, we have learned about how to measure a transaction which had already taken place and for which either some value or money has been paid or some valuation principles are to be adopted for their measurement. But there are certain items which have not occurred, therefore cannot be measured using valuation principles. Still, they are necessary to record in the books of accounts. ऐसा कुछ आइटम होता है अकाउंट्स में जो अभी तक भी ऑकर नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन उसको मेजर करना या फिर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में उसको प्रेजेंट करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट. जो डेट है वो डाउटफुल है, लेकिन उस डाउटफुल डेट के लिए एक प्रोविजन क्रिएट करना जरूरी हो जाता है. इसीलिए हम लोग अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट्स लगाते हैं. फॉर सच आइटम्स वी नीड सम वैल्यू. इन सच अ सिचुएशन, reasonable estimates based on the existing situation and past experiences are made. Reasonable estimates based on existing situation and past experiences are made. What are these? These are accounting estimates. Past experiences या फिर present condition को नजरअंदाज करते हुए कुछ एस्टिमेट्स, रीजनेबल एस्टिमेट्स बनाया जाता है अकाउंटेंट्स के द्वारा उस चीज को रिकॉर्ड करने के लिए. The measurement of certain assets and liabilities is based on estimates of uncertain future events. As a result of uncertainties inherent in business activities, many financial statement items cannot be measured with precision but can only be estimated. बहुत फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स का आइटम्स रहता है जिसको हम लोग एक्यूरेटली मेजर तो नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन एक एस्टिमेट जरूर कर सकते हैं. उस एस्टिमेट को हम लोग अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट कहते हैं। क्यों? वो उसको उस एस्टिमेट्स को अकाउंटेंसी में कंसीडर करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, इसीलिए हम लोग उसे अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट्स कहते हैं। और ये जो अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट्स है ना, इसको भी हम लोग मॉनेटरी यूनिट्स में डिफाइन करते हैं। These accounting estimates are recognized or shown in terms of money only. Therefore, the management makes various estimates and assumptions of assets, liabilities, incomes, and expenses as on the date of preparation of financial statements. फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स को प्रिपेयर करने के दिन में कुछ एस्टिमेट्स लिया जाता है। एस्टिमेट्स किसके लिए? कुछ एसेट्स के लिए, कुछ लाइबिलिटीज के लिए, या फिर कुछ इनकम या फिर एक्सपेंस के लिए। जितना भी एस्टिमेट्स किया जाता है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के दिन में, उसे हम लोग अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट्स कहते हैं। Such estimates are made in connection with the computation of depreciation, amortization, impairment losses, as well as accruals, provisions, employee benefit obligations. Also, estimates may be required in determining bad debts, useful life or and residual value of item of plant and machinery, and inventory obsolescence. This process of estimation involves judgment based on latest information available. Accounting estimate क्या है? वो judgment के ऊपर dependent है, dependent on judgment. Dependent on judgment. ये जो जजमेंट है ये रैशनल होना चाहिए, प्रेजेंट एंड पास्ट इंसिडेंट्स को नजरअंदाज करते हुए। These accounting estimates are dependent on judgments, but these judgments should be rational. Rational why? These judgments should be made according to present and past incidences and chances. An estimate may require revision if changes occur regarding to circumstances on which the estimate was based, or as a result of new information, more experience or subsequent developments. ये जो estimates है, ये estimates को हम लोगों को कुछ modify करना होता है। ये जो estimates है कब modify करना होता है? उस टाइम पे modify करना होता है जब भी कुछ न्यू इंफॉर्मेशन मिले, या फिर एस्टिमेट का बेसिस का चेंज हो जाए। जिस बेसिस पे एस्टिमेट बनाया गया था उसमें कुछ चेंजेस हो जाए, या फिर कुछ नया इंफॉर्मेशन या फिर नया एक्सपीरियंस मिल जाए, उसके बेसिस पे चेंज करना बनता है। चेंज इन अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट मींस डिफरेंस अराइजेस बिटवीन सर्टेन पैरामीटर्स estimated earlier and re-estimated during the current period or actual result achieved during the current period. Changes in accounting estimate का मतलब क्या होता है? पिछले साल या फिर पिछले दिनों में जो भी अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट बनाया गया था और जो रियलिटी है या फिर प्रेजेंट में जो अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट का वैल्यू है उसमें कुछ डिफरेंस हो जाता है। That is, change in accounting estimate means difference arises between certain parameters estimated earlier and re-estimated during the current period or actual result achieved in the current period. यहाँ पे कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स दिया हुआ है, इसको रेफर कर लेना, बहुत आसानी से आप लोगों को समझ जाएगा। So let us summarize what we have learned today and yesterday. Let's summarize the chapter. Measurement is vital aspect of accounting. Primarily, transactions and events are measured in terms of money. There are three elements of measurement. First of all, measurement is aspect of accounting. Primarily, transactions and events are measured in terms of money. Money is the main term for measuring a transaction or event. There are three elements for measurement: identification, selection, and evaluation. Identification of what? Identification of objects, events to be measured, selection of standard or scale to be used, evaluation of dimension of measurement, standard or scale. There are four generally accepted measurement bases or valuation principles. What are those? Historical cost, current cost, realizable value and present value. हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट क्या है? हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट वो कॉस्ट है जिसको एक एसेट को अक्वायर करने के लिए एक कंपनी या फिर एंटरप्राइज को पे करना पड़ता है, या फिर हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट ऑफ अ लायबिलिटी is the amount that is amount of the proceeds that can be recognized or realized by declaring or recognizing any liability. Current cost क्या है? Current cost is the current market value or the amount that needs to be currently paid to acquire a similar or equivalent asset that was purchased or acquired previously. Current cost of our liability is the amount that needs to be paid today itself to realize or to write off the obligation or liability today itself. Realizable value क्या है? Realizable value of an asset is the amount that can be realized or can be recovered by selling the asset and the realization should be in the form of cash and cash equivalents. रियलाइजेशन वैल्यू एक लाइबिलिटी के लिए क्या है? उस लाइबिलिटी को पे करने के लिए आज कितना अमाउंट देना पड़ेगा. प्रेजेंट वैल्यू क्या है? प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज द डिस्काउंटेड अमाउंट ऑफ द नेट कैश इनफ्लोज और आउटफ्लोज फॉर एन एसेट और लाइबिलिटी that is calculated according to the given interest percentage or given percentage of discount. So we have come to the end of this chapter and end of this part 1 and part 2. If you like this video, give this video a like. If you liked my efforts, please subscribe to my channel and stay together. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep studying and keep learning. Thank you. Bye bye and stay together.